Everyone online is saying you could buy a $20,000 humanoid in 2026, but is that actually true? Let's find out. If you click this video to figure out whether you can buy a humanoid like a Tesla, Figure 1, Unitree, or 1X right now, you're in the right place. Today I'm breaking down what's real, what's pre-order hype, and what's still science fiction. By the end of this video, you'll know what you can buy today, what's still on the horizon, and what's better to watch from a distance for now. Welcome back to the Robotic Life. Let's get into it. So let's set the scene. It's early 2026. You've seen the videos. You've seen Tesla's Optimus folding t-shirts or laundry, slowly albeit. You've seen the Unitree robots getting kicked, standing back up, and maybe even in a ring fighting. And you're thinking to yourself, that's pretty cool. I'd like to have one of those. But here's a reality check. If you walk into Best Buy today, or you go on to Amazon right now, the smartest robot you can actually put in your cart and have delivered to your doorstep is still a vacuum cleaner, and maybe a lawnmower if you're adventurous. So I've had a number of people ask me, hey, I've got $20,000 burning a hole in my pocket, and I want the future now. Can I buy a humanoid in 2026? Today I'm breaking down the manufacturing plans for Tesla, 1X, Figure, and Unitree to see what's actually headed for production and when. So let's get into the buyer's guide. Let's talk about the robots you can actually buy. I call this the research class. The primary contender here is the Unitree G1. The status, it is available. The price is roughly between $16,000 and $90,000, depending upon shipping and tariffs and how much you want to code. Unitree is incredible at driving down costs. In fact, they're doing to robotics what DJI did to the drone industry. But, and this is a massive but, don't be fooled by the marketing videos you're seeing online. If you buy a Unitree G1 for your kitchen, you're not getting a maid. You're getting a highly sophisticated remote-controlled puppet. This is a developer platform. It's built for universities, R&D labs, and people who know how to code. If you don't know how to code, this thing is a $20,000 paperweight. It doesn't know how to do your laundry out of the box. So I had a phone conversation with an engineer who's got a strong background in coding who bought one of these Unitree G1s. And he had no idea when he bought it how much work was going to be involved. But he said out of the box, this robot did maybe 3 or 4 different functions. It stood up, it could wave. But short of that, he said there was a lot of programming that went involved into it. It's definitely not plug and play. So that is something to keep in mind. If you think you're going to purchase this and start fighting or having it run up and down, that's not the case. So the verdict here is, unless you're a robotics engineer or you're running a university lab, keep your credit card in your wallet. This is an unfinished product for the consumer market. So let's move to the category that has the most hype, but the most risk. And that's what we call the pre-order class. Specifically, we're talking about 1X and the NEO robot. So the status, at this time, they are taking pre-orders. This is a company I follow pretty closely. I did a deep dive on 1X Technologies a few months ago. If you haven't seen that, you can click right here. So they are not playing the same game as the other manufacturers. 1X is going soft, literally. They're using fabric actuators and lightweight structures made for homes, not warehouses. You knock one of these over and your toddler walks away and you're fine. That's a big advantage in a world that's terrified of liability. They are also the most honest company about the home market right now. They're not trying to build cars first. They want to be in your living room. But there is a financial risk involved. We are looking at a deposit model, likely followed by a subscription model. So their robots are roughly $20,000. There's a $200 deposit. And then the other option they have is a subscription model where it's roughly $499 a month. So the only caveat there is being the first generation hardware is always a gamble. Remember the first iPhone? There was no App Store. There was no 3G. It was a cool toy, but barely functional compared to what was going to come down the line 2 years later. It's no different than buying a first generation car. You need to know going into this that there's going to be issues. So let's call 1X NEO what it actually is in 2026. It's a $20,000 beta test. When you sign that social contract they keep talking about, you're agreeing to be a guinea pig. You aren't buying a polished product, you're funding their R&D department and letting them use your living room as a lab along with the teleoperator that's going to help learn. And that brings us to the social contract. So the CEO is very open about this. He says if you buy NEO, it's because you're okay with helping it learn. But let's translate from the CEO speak. If you put money down on a 1X NEO in 2026, you're essentially paying an early adopter tax to be a glorified beta tester. So here's the verdict. With the 1X, it is the only real contender for a home robot in 2026, but expect delays. If you value your cash, maybe wait for the Generation 2 NEO. Now for the heavy hitters. These are the humanoids that dominate the headlines, but remain strictly off limits to the average person. We call them the forbidden class. That is Tesla's Optimus and Figure AI. So let's start with the big one. That's Tesla. Elon Musk has been promising a sub-$30,000 robot for years. In fact, if you go back to 2024, the narrative was that we'd have these things in our homes by now. Well, here we are in 2026. Can you go to Tesla.com and order an Optimus? Nope. The reality of Optimus today is that it has been rehomed to the factory floor. Tesla is currently deep into internal testing at their gigafactories. While Musk still floats that $20,000 to $30,000 price tag, producing a machine with this many joins and making it toddler safe is brutally expensive. Right now, Optimus is basically a glorified intern at Tesla. It's moving parts, it's learning how to walk on uneven concrete, and it's even being trained by humans wearing VR suits. For you and me, it's vaporware in a shiny chrome suit. It's forbidden because it's tethered to the factory, solving industrial problems that are a world away from your living room. Then we have Figure. Now, Figure is arguably doing some of the most impressive AI work in the industry, especially with their partnership with OpenAI. Their newest model, the Figure 3, just dropped, and it's amazing. It's got soft touch skin, it can reason through voice commands. Figure isn't interested in being in your home, not just yet. They've doubled down on their BMW partnership. If you want to see a Figure robot in action today, you've got to go to Spartanburg, South Carolina and look inside a manufacturing plant. These robots are forbidden to consumers because they're currently being sold or leased as high-end industrial tools. The price? Well, if you have to ask, you can't afford. We're talking 6 figures per unit. Figure's founder is open about the fact that in 2026 is their year to try to get into the home market. But as of right now, the only house these robots live in is a warehouse. They are designed for precision and repetition, not the chaos of households where a dog might run between its legs or a rug might cause a catastrophic balance failure. So, where does that leave us? We've all seen the dream they're selling. You walk through the door after a long day, and the heavy lifting is already done. A humanoid cooking dinner and handing you a glass of wine. That's the dream. It's the ultimate vision of a life without the chores. It's the sleek, sci-fi elegance where you don't even have to think about how anymore. It just gets done. That's when you know the future has finally arrived. But here's the cold hard truth. You can't walk into a Best Buy or hop onto Amazon today and buy a humanoid helper. Not yet. So if you're sitting there with a checkbook ready, what can you actually buy in 2026 that's actually going to add value to your life right now? Well, these are what I call the quiet winners. We're talking about vacuums and lawnmowers, machines that do one job and do it really well. Inside the house, robot cleaners have become total game changers, depending upon how fancy you want to get, whether you're looking at a Roborock, a Dyson, or an iRobot. You're looking at anywhere from $300 to $2,000. Also with iRobot, you do need to be careful. They've had a lot of changes recently. Late in 2025, they did declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In fact, I did a deep dive on the situation in a previous video. You can catch that link right here. And the best part? These machines just aren't hype. These things are smart. They map out your floor plan, they're getting better at dodging debris, and when they're done, they just go home. No drama, no manual labor, they just put themselves away. And it's not just indoors anymore. Autonomous mowers are quietly taking over backyards as well. Look, for somewhere between $700 and $5,000, you can basically fire yourself from yard work on the weekend and reclaim some of that time back. Brands like Husqvarna, Momotion, and Ecovacs are some of the top brands in the space. I went online recently and watched some of the videos from some of these manufacturers, and the way these things are cutting lawns are amazing. In fact, I'm thinking about picking one up myself. The bottom line, here's the real punchline. Millions of us already own a working home robot. It's just that it doesn't have arms and legs. It just works. So the robot revolution isn't arriving as a person, it's arriving as a specialist. So let's call it what it is. In 2026, there are no walking, talking humanoids in our living rooms. There's no laundry folding companions, and there's no robot chefs. So here's my final recommendation in the 2026 Buyer's Guide. You really have 3 choices this year. 1, you can spend $20,000 on a Unitree G1 and learn how to code. 2, you can put down a deposit on a 1X NEO and accept you're a beta tester. Or 3, you can save your money because consumer-ready humanoids aren't here yet. And if you actually want your laundry folded today, take that $20K and hire a human housekeeper. The ROI is better, and you'll get better conversation as well. So humanoids are the dream, but unfortunately, we are not quite there yet. So the robots that are worth purchasing today, they don't walk, they vacuum and mow lawns. So if you enjoyed this episode, hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. We've got a lot more coming on humanoids, AI, and the companies that are defining the next decade of robotics. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. This is Lars, and you've been tuned into The Robotic Life.